Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games, and today we're taking another look at Stone Soup by Peaceable Kingdom. So I'm taking my second look at this. If you haven't seen the previous video, then don't worry about it. I'm going to cover everything again that I covered in that video. It's just in that last one, I had a few people who were commenting to me saying that they wanted to see the components, that they wanted to see how the game is played. I just kind of took a cheap way out and said, well, there's a cue code here at the bottom. You can look for yourself. But people want to see on my video, so hey, I'm going to do that for you. I'm remaking the video with that information included. So before I take you to the report card, I just want to quickly take you into the background of the story of Stone Soup. Now, Stone Soup is a very famous folk tale in which a man comes walking into a village and he's looking for something to eat, but the people there are very poor and don't have much, and then what they do have, they're keeping very jealously to themselves. The man tricks the village, but in a good way, because he pretends that he's making soup with just a stone. And then with that, then people are curious and they start to contribute to the soup. They add a bit of, maybe carrots and parsley and tomato and whatever else. And in the end, they've made a really nice soup, which for everybody can enjoy because there's so much of it, because everybody contributed. So in that vein of cooperation, this game is a cooperative board game, which is, to my mind, a first. And I mean, I made this video 2 years ago and I said the same thing then, I'm saying the same thing now. I don't know of another cooperative board game for kids of this age, like 5 and under. I mean, Peaceable Kingdom does do games like that, and that's their whole thing, and I think that's wonderful. But beyond any games by Peaceable Kingdom, I cannot think of another game which would fit into that category. If you know of something which proves me wrong, then please prove me wrong. I'd love to know. Just, we can write a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can with that, and just would appreciate hearing if there are other games out there which are cooperative games for the very young. So in looking at the report card for Stone Soup, I'm going to give the number of players an A. I give it the A because I think it's perfect for the amount of players that it can play. It plays between 2 to 6. So it's nice that it plays that 2-player game. I mean, you could even play it solo if you wanted to. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't. Any cooperative board game, really, you can play solo. But in this one, it's 2 to 6, and what's nice about it too is that it's the perfect size for a group. So if you're going to be doing Stone Soup in your classroom, I would think this is a great one to do as a center off to the side while kids are doing other activities, so maybe part of a daily 5 program. The other nice thing about it is that with the number of players, is the players can come and go as they please. So if you start with 4 players and one player decides to leave halfway through the game, no big deal. Continue playing with the 3 players that you have. It doesn't make a difference. Or on the flip side, if you have 3 players and 2 more players want to join, so now you're going to have 5, not a problem. Let them come on in and they can help contribute to the success of the game. So it's wonderful in that way. You don't often see that in games where it has that kind of fluidity, where players can come and go as they please. Also, like I say, it's a really nice size for groups and centers to play up to 6 players. So for that reason, I give it the A. For learning, I'm going to give the game an A. I give it the A because, which may sound a little odd, because there's no reading, there's no math in this, there's no curricular knowledge being taught through the play of the game. But what it does do, and what it does do very well, is what all cooperative board games do, and that is teach you the 21st century competencies. The 21st century competencies are those skills which are like cooperation, collaboration, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, all those things coming together. Really difficult skills to teach in a classroom setting. I mean, how do you teach a group of young students this age on collaboration and communication? It's so difficult, but any cooperative board game is going to do that. And because this is a game for the, and because this game is so unique in teaching to such a young age range, I have to give it the A. Like I said, I think this game is exceptional for, not only for the fact that it's teaching those skills, which any cooperative game does, but the fact that there is such a limited market for cooperative board games with young kids. So if you're a board game designer planning on designing games for younger kids, I would highly recommend thinking about doing cooperative board games, because it's a very underutilized market right now to have board games for that demographic. For fun, I'm going to give the game a B. I think it's a fun game. To me, I used to play a lot of memory games and such when I was younger. But this is better than that. Unlike a regular memory game where if one person starts getting ahead of you, it starts to feel, I was always a poor loser, and so it started to stress me out when my brother was beating me or whoever else was beating me at the memory game. But in this one, you don't have to worry about that because it's all cooperative. It's you versus the game. You either win as a team or you lose as a team. Now, if you lose as a team, you lost to the game, so it doesn't feel so bad. I mean, not to me anyway when I lose at a cooperative game. But working together as a team, you're much more likely to be successful. So I love that about this. I might even push it up to, I'm going to push it up to B+. B+ for this game for fun because it's a little bit better than that regular memory game, which I would have rated more in the C range. But just I love the fact that it's going to be novel for the kids because it's a cooperative game. They may have never experienced such a thing before, and the fact that because it's cooperative, the extra fun that's going to come through that. B+. For time, I give the game an A. In looking at time, you're looking at how long it takes to play as well as setup and cleanup. And in this game, there's not a lot of pieces to it. So the setup is very quick, the cleanup is very quick, and it takes about 15-20 minutes to play. So again, if you're playing this game in your primary classroom as part of a center, wonderful addition to it. It's going to definitely be something that you can do within the period that you have allotted for that. Maybe even a couple times if you do a rotation of centers during halfway through, kids can move to the new center, reset it up, and play again. So you could probably do it twice in one period. So for cost, I give the game an A. The game is going to cost you about $20. And that is, for a board game, is really cheap, in my opinion. Plus, when you think about the fact of how many kids you're going to be able to get to play it at one time, 5, 6 kids for a center, maybe 4, and how many times you're going to play it, and how you can play this repeatedly after that. I mean, you are going to get a lot of value out of this game. So when I look at cost, it's not only the cost for purchasing the game in the first place, but the amount of value you're going to get through the replayability. And you are going to have a lot of replayability through this game and use of it through the time that you own it. So definitely an A for me. So I just wanted to say a couple more things about the company Peaceable Kingdom that I really love about this particular game. For starters, this has a little notice up here on the top corner. It says 100% green inside, and let me just sort of talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's using vegetable-based inks, and when you open the box lid, it has the rules on the inside here, which means they're cutting down on unnecessary paper. They didn't need to put the rules on a separate piece of paper, thereby using more paper than they needed. So it all fits here nicely. It's all good. Everything in here is made from biodegradable materials. And although this game doesn't use a spinner, when they have games that do use a spinner, it's made from corn-based plastics, which are biodegradable. So they're very conscious about the environment and being very safe with the environment. So it's just something I wish that more board game companies would be doing. So I love the fact that they're being responsible with that in the production of their board games. And if you're looking for the Stone Soup story, it's here. They did include the story in here as well. So if you want to share that with the kids, if you're not getting it from like the local library, if you don't have your own copy, they've got it here for you as well. So all the pieces, rather than be kept in a plastic baggie, they have a nice paper baggie. And as I said, nice cardboard pieces printed with vegetable inks, which is better for the environment. So let me take you to the table and I'll show you how the game's played. So here's the board and the pieces for Stone Soup. So you're going to have different ingredients for the soup. You have peas, beans, tomatoes, and then you get these tiles that say fire out. What you're looking to do is you want to make sure that you're matching all the ingredients before the fire goes out completely. And then you even have one magic stone. Now in the book, the man said the stone was magic, but it actually wasn't. But in this game, it does have some magical properties, which I'll explain in just a moment. So you're going to shuffle these up, make sure they're all face down, shuffle them up. And then you're going to make sure that none of them are overlapping. And like I said, so you see this, how easy this is to set this up so quickly, because it's just takes moments to put it all together. So there we are, we're all set up. And now what I'm going to do is, as maybe I'm the first player, I'm going to flip over one tile. So I flip over, oh, bad luck. I got the fire out. So what happens now with the fire out is I put it down here. So there are 10 spaces, and if all 10 spaces fill up, the fire has gone out and the soup is incomplete, we have lost the game. But what we need to do is we need to turn over the things and find, so I found beans, so we put the beans, that's where, and so every player is going to have 2 picks. So I picked the fire out and beans, so now that my turn is over, now the next player is going to go. So they're going to turn over a tile, and they found broccoli, and turn over another one, and they have peas. So now we can work together to remember beans, peas, and broccoli. So now say there's a third player, so the third player is going to go. They're going to take the one thing, salt and pepper, and they're going to go the corners, and potato. And then maybe it's back to me again. I'm going to go bottom corner, and I'm no good. I'm keep putting the fires out. And then I choose a second one, tomato. Back to the second player, and they have tomato. And then, but when they've got that, now we remember we saw tomato. So now as a group, we can discuss, where did we see that tomato? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? And it was right here. So now we have tomato. So now we have tomato soup. But the soup is not going to be complete until we've added everything to it. So now that player is gone, so now we go back to the third player. The third player takes one, and they have carrots and the fire out. So our fire is going out. And then back to me, of course, my first one is always the fire out. I'm terrible. And then cabbage. Okay, back to the second player. They get mushrooms and peas. Now remember we had peas before. So the third player, they remember that one's peas. Was it this one? Yes, peas and peas. So they've got us another one. So we have peas and tomato soup. And the game goes on and on. Now, if you get that magic stone, then what it allows you to do, where's that magic stone? Well, if you find the magic stone, then you can keep it. You keep it to one side, then at one point during the game, so you keep it to the side, and at one point during the game, if all the fire outs are being filled up, you can use the magic stone to put one of the fire outs back again. So that way it can save you from the fire from extinguishing and losing the game. So it's like a second chance. But if you pick that fire again, that's just too bad. You have to remember what that fire is, and not pick it a second time, because otherwise then you're out of luck. And so then if you complete all the ingredients, you match all the ingredients before the fire goes out, you win. If you don't, and the fire fills up before you find all the matches, then you lose. And that is how you play Stone Soup. Well, that is it for Stone Soup. Like I said about this game, there's so much to love about this game. One, I love the fact that the company Peaceable Kingdom has taken such efforts to make sure that they created a game which is environmentally friendly as much as they can, in terms of the use of the plastics, which are biodegradable, the inks, which are safe for the environment. Everything about it is 100% environmentally friendly, and I love that about that. And as I say, I wish more board game companies would do that. I love that Peaceable Kingdom is made a game which is for such a young age range, and I love that Peaceable Kingdom has created a whole range of games that are good for younger ages. Now, I am planning on doing a full look at Peaceable Kingdom, like I sometimes do a publisher focus, and I will be looking at Peaceable Kingdom this month, talking a little bit more about some of their other games, and just sharing some of my thoughts about the company as a whole. So look to that one. Overall, for Stone Soup, I think it's a wonderful game. As I say, for the value that you are getting with this game, doesn't cost that much, and you're going to get a lot of replayability. It has excellent usage as a center, whether you're doing it in conjunction with the Stone Soup story or not. It's just a game that I think the kids are going to enjoy, and that you will get a lot of use out of. So I think it's definitely a recommendation for me. So thank you for coming out today. If you are new to the channel, then I'm putting out videos on a weekly basis. My topics are about gamification, game-based learning, and how we can implement games into the classroom to improve our pedagogy. I myself have been a teacher for 20 years, and I always say that I teach the way I wish I was taught. I wish I learned more with games. I would have been such a better student if I'd done that. And I feel that a lot of my education did come, as hard as those teachers tried with me, it was only through the play of games where I really started to cement some of those concrete some of those skills that I needed to be a more successful person today. So I highly recommend this, in whether you're homeschooling or whether you are a teacher in the classroom or a parent. I think that teaching through games is a wonderful way to do that. And I just think it's a very successful way to do it as well. Well, that's all for today. Until next time, I'm Craig Thompson Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school?